Well, good evening. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the Shamrock Society's Northern Ireland Centenary celebration. On this Ulster Day, 28th September 2021, when we look back on the last 100 years of our wee country. As well as being joined here in Kilkee Primary School Assembly Hall, we're joined out there on the internet with a lot of folk listening in on Facebook. So welcome to those of you who are listening in as well. Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear wherever you're at. Thanks in no small part to the broadband being secured during the confidence and supply arrangements. So, I want to give a special welcome to our First Minister, Paul Givan, who has joined with us tonight. Paul, you're extremely welcome. And to an old comrade of mine, Danny Kinahan, Northern Ireland's first Veterans Commissioner. And out in the dark, I think our local MLA, Jim Wells, is here as well, the MLA for South Dublin. Apologies from my brother, Sir Geoffrey, who's not able to be with us this evening, but he says to tell Jim thanks very much for keeping a seat warm for him this evening. I've also got to give mention to welcome all those who've joined us this evening via the Shamrock Society's live stream, and a little bit of housekeeping. So in the event of a fire, there are fire exits at the back, so you can go out the rear of the hall, or if you need to, out the side doors as well. But you'll get plenty of marshalling if that happens. Everyone please follow your COVID guidelines at all times, so maintain your distance and where appropriate, wear a mask. If you've got a mobile phone, if you could switch it on to silent now please, we'd appreciate it. And also you'll see on display in the hall this evening the Northern Ireland Centenary bannerets. They've been displayed around Kilkee and Athlone over the past few months as part of the Shamrock Society's Centenary celebrations. So, you're all very welcome. Why are we here? We're here to celebrate the creation of Northern Ireland. And we should remember way back, over 100 years ago, at the end of the 19th century, lots of chat about the Home Rule Bill, about Ireland having its independence from the rest of the United Kingdom, about ending the Act of Union. So, how present times reflect on that, you can think for yourself. But when the young men and women of the UVF mobilised in 1912 and the loyal people of Ulster signed the Covenant, it was a demonstration that there was no desire on the part of the north of the island of Ireland to enter into any arrangement that involved them leaving the rest of the United Kingdom. And of course, this was followed by the First World War, when the men of Ulster, and indeed the men of the rest of Ireland, went along with their womenfolk to war and fought bravely and valorously on behalf of their country. The Ulstermen fighting to prove their mettle and to prove that they were worthy to remain within the United Kingdom. The Irishmen going there with mixed emotions about loyalty and perhaps the desire to derive a new future for themselves. That campaign in Ulster was driven by four granite cornerstones of the Ulster Scots community. Edward Carson, James Craig, Thomas Sinclair and Frederick Crawford. And that Ulster Scots golden thread that had been woven some 3 centuries early was most apparent at that time. And so this evening it's appropriate that we begin at the beginning with Edward Carson and his wife. So this evening our first act is of Edward Carson and Lady Carson. They are played by two actors who are very familiar to those of us who've been following Fuse FM and following our Ulster Scots culture throughout COVID. Some of you will have seen the famous Zoom first date. So we're delighted to have Andrew Tinney and Laura Douglas back with us. They've come from as far as Londonderry. We're very grateful to have them here. And they're now going to perform for us as Sir Edward Carson and Lady Carson, and they will officially open the night's celebrations and take us back to Ulster Day in 1921.
Gentlemen, on behalf of myself and my husband, Lord Carson, we are delighted to be back in this fine kingdom of Mourne, in its capital, the town of Kilkee. The kingdom of Mourne is one of the most beautiful places in our newly created Northern Ireland, and I, for one, am always struck by the kindness, generosity and spirit of the Mourne folk. They have always made myself and Edward feel most welcome. I would now like to introduce a man who needs no introduction at all around these parts. my husband, Sir Edward Carson.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to my lovely wife for such a wonderful and warm introduction. I stand before you now on the 28th of September 1921, on a day known as Ulster Day. And as I stand here, I remember the first Ulster Day, the 28th of September 1912, where men and women from across the province came out in droves to sign the Solemn League and Covenant in defiance of Home Rule. That covenant was written by a good friend of mine, Thomas Sinclair, who's actually an Ulster Scotsman. I was very pleased to know that he had modelled the covenant of the Scottish National Covenant of 1638, which was also signed by a great many Ulster Scots people. Now, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the turnout of the people of this fair town of Kilkeel in signing the Declaration. I am told that 1,038 men and 1,076 women turned out to sign the Declaration in places such as the Mourne Presbyterian Hall, the Kilkeel Parish Hall, and places such as the Glen Loughran and Ballymartin Orange Halls. I'm also told that a certain Reverend William McMordy gave a sermon against Home Rule to his congregation in Mourne Presbyterian. For that, I am truly thankful to him. Travelling down to Kilkeel tonight, ladies and gentlemen, through these wonderful mountains that surround you, reminded me of the first time that I visited here with my friend, James Craig. We came down on the 17th September 1913 to inspect the Mourne Volunteers. I was impressed to see 950 men arrayed before me, with some 4,000 spectators arrayed around them in Greencastle Street. And as they paraded up and down, well drilled, some of them were displaying the badges that they had won during the war. I said to those volunteers on that day, "Volunteers, we will need you. We will need all of you, so be prepared. Be prepared to defy the law should Home Rule come into effect." I do thank God that such a day never came, and that the men were able to serve their king and country on foreign soil instead. We should acknowledge them. Acknowledge the men of the volunteers who joined the 36th Ulster Division, men who I am extremely proud of, men whose blood and sacrifice, particularly in the Battle of the Somme, have led us here to where we are, the creation of a new state within the Union, State of Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland. I cannot say exactly what I wanted, but it is the situation that we find ourselves in. And so together, we must move forward for the peace and prosperity of our new land. I remember what I said in my final days as the leader of the Ulster Unionists in February 1921, that you are now a majority carries with it great responsibility. Should you now be elected, you are no longer merely the organisation of a party. Rather, you are the parliament for our whole community. Our whole community here in Northern Ireland. I pray for a long-lasting peace between all the people of this new nation. I pray that we leave the shackles of the past, previous events behind us, that we move forward for the glory of our new state. And what finer people to be exemplars of this new state than you fine people before me? You people from Kilkeel, who prove yourself strong, resilient, able to weather any storm, much like the granite walls that crisscross the fields and valleys around you. Throughout the province you are known as kindly Mourne, And any person that comes to visit here today, friend or stranger, is met with the same warm Ulster Scots welcome. I ask you to continue that. To continue showing your charity, your honesty, and your decency as people here in the southernmost part of Northern Ireland. I ask that you remain loyal to yourselves and to your decency, that we will prove ourselves shining examples as the people of this new nation called Northern Ireland. Thank you.
What a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Edward Knight has come to Belfast with us. It has been an honour to come before you tonight to celebrate Ulster Day. We look forward to returning on many more occasions. Thank you all, and good night.
Well, what a way to start the evening. Thanks to Andrew Kinney and Lord Douglas, who were Sir Edward and Lady Carson, and also to Eve Donaldson, who presented the bouquet of flowers to Lady Carson. It's going to be like a Morecambe watch. So, the next act of the evening is a wonderful, wonderful act, the Northern Ireland Military Wives Choir, and they are truly spectacular. I was privileged in 2016 to be able to have the Military Wives Choir at St Anne's Cathedral for the centenary commemoration of the Battle of the Somme. And they sang the song Bring Him Home from Les Miserables about the boys left out in France and in Flanders fields who couldn't come home. And they are truly stunning. And they will move us this evening with two wonderful pieces, Sing and Carry Me. Now, ladies, you're not off the hook yet. The choir is always going to look out for new members, so if you're a wife, mother, sister or daughter, or a current serving or ex-serving member of the British Armed or Reserve Forces, you're very welcome to join us. Now, I must apologise for the gender imbalance in that appeal, but it is a military wives choir, and we haven't just changed the legislation yet to catch up with that nomenclature. However, the military wives choir, who I hope are getting behind me, I've just had a little nudge, so I think that means they're ready, or it's time for me to fall off the stage. Richard? I should say Judith. Hello. Very well. This is Judith McCabe Wells. I can only come to the conclusion that something has happened since we last were together, because you were just playing with Judith McCabe then. Jim? No, not Jim. Always worth checking. The law changes fast, you never know. But Judith, it's nice to see you.
Thank you.
We'll talk after we've had a few songs.
Thank you.
Great. There you are. They were gorgeous, brilliant, beautiful. As well as being a beautiful choir, which I think you agree they are, we should never forget that they are mums, daughters, sisters, aunts and uncles. For the sharp-eyed amongst you, as you came in this evening, you would have seen a wall with some photographs of boys and girls from Kilkeen Primary School who went off to serve in the military. So somewhere, when I was in Iraq and my friends and former school pupils on the wall there were flung around the world, there was a mum, sisters, wives, daughters, looking over children, other brothers and sisters, and other loved ones. When those of you here were out with the UDR somewhere on a wet night with a VCP in the Moord area, or indeed with the police and emergency services, at home with someone looking after children, looking after loved ones. And so they're not just a military wives choir, they're the people who looked after people like me and others and kept us safe and who were in their thoughts while we were away. And so we're not just grateful for them for the beautiful singing, but also for the service and sacrifice they make so that young men and women can go away and serve their countries. So, ladies, thank you very, very much. Please show your appreciation. Now, I'm joined on stage by two local artists. So we've got John Shields and Donna Thompson. And thanks to John and Donna, they're going to play us a wonderful tune. It's a very special tune to those of us in the military. Most of you who are involved with the Flute Band fraternity will also know the tune very well. This is The Minstrel Boy. So, thank you, John Shields and Donna Thompson. But not only thanks to John and Donna, but also First Minister, in a former role, folk like you and others have funded the purpose of instruments for our flute bands. Someone like John has come up through the flute band fraternity. So it's not just for the colourful pageantry of the flute bands, the silver bands, the pipe bands, but in the hands of a proper musical craftsman, the flute is genuinely beautiful. So thank you for that funding. That is directly related to that piece of music and the beauty that John plays. So thank you. Now, we're going to turn to one of our stalwart organisations of the local Ulster Scots movement, the Kirkmara School of Dance. Those of you locally will know just how much work goes into dancing amongst the young folk, particularly young ladies. It's the starting point for many of them in their journey of discovery of their Ulster Scots culture and heritage. And of course we're very lucky that these young ladies are coached by Catherine Stewart, and Catherine is one of the former Northern Ireland dance champions. So we're in the hands of a master. The dance school is one of the busiest in Northern Ireland, regularly performing events all across the country. Earlier this year I was privileged to be in Reivers House as lots of them came through to take their exams in a COVID-safe environment, and the skill levels which they've achieved are just remarkable. So it's going to be a treat tonight to have the Scots dancers here, and they're going to perform their first dance, the Sweet Caroline. They've been everywhere. They've been entertaining folk as far afield as Carrick, and this Saturday night they've got in Brownlow House in Armagh. So they're in big demand, which is just as it should be, because they're as good as it gets. Now, another star of the local Ulster Scots culture scene, and I can see at the corner of my eye, Mummy and Daddy, is Rachel Hutchison. Now, I've known through doing Fuse FM and being involved with the Shawmere for a few years, Rachel in her journey from teenager at school all the way through to today. And on that time, we've heard her perform, and she gets better and better and better. And although it's almost impossible to get any better, she continues to do more. So Rachel's going to entertain us this evening. So she's one of our regular Fuse FM broadcasters. And if you don't know that, shame on you for not tuning in. And she enjoys performing at many local events, and in recent months has performed at a number of traditional Ulster Scots and Scots songs. So tonight, she's going to perform the very beautiful Mounts of Mourne, and then she's going to sing I Am Northern Ireland. So put your hands together, please, for Rachel Hunt.
The first piece I'm going to sing is Mounts of Mourne.
Down to the sea.
performed 2 wonderful anthems, one from close to home and one more modern, but still capturing this beautiful wee place that we call home, Northern Ireland. As Mum is here, can I just, on behalf of you and others, thank Sharon, Esther, and indeed all the ladies of the Highland Heathers Ladies Group, one of our Ulster Scots groups here in Mourne, for the contribution in helping to prepare this evening, but also for the huge contribution they've made with their Northern Ireland Centenary Recipe Book. Fabulous cookbook. So for all of you who are suffering, particularly the men amongst you who feel that things aren't just quite at the standard that you like in terms of the culinary output from the kitchen, take your hand in your pocket, see Evelyn Egg, they're £5 and you can turn that situation around in no time. You'll be cooking for yourself, you understand it's an easy to follow recipe book. We're now going to hear from the Frontier Veterans Pipe Band. Now, they are a new outfit, but they're playing something very old and very traditional. So the band themselves have only been formed at 18 months, and they are former members of the armed forces and their families. We're delighted to welcome the band to perform for the first time here in Kilkeel. The band practices weekly in places as far afield as Belfast, Tandragee and Omagh. And tonight we've got members of the band from as far away as Castledown, Portadown, Lurgan, Bangor and Newry, to name just a few places. So they are dedicated and they have a lovely brand of music. They've served or they've been with the family of someone who served, so they're extra special for that reason. So this is the Frontier Veterans Pipes and Drum Band. Frontier Veteran Pipe Band with a little bit of help from the Military Wives Band. And there are two tunes of note there that are worth commenting on. First of all, Highland Cathedral. And for those of you who are pipe band aficionados, you remember that sad night when Hong Kong was handed to the Chinese and the Union Jack was pulled down. And it was Highland Cathedral they played. And we would all hope that we never live to see another night where a Union Jack is hauled down from part of the old empire. And then lastly, Killaloo, the great battle march of the Irish fighting men. A timely reminder that the best of Irish is also the best of British. So the Frontier Veteran Pipe Band. Now we're going to hear from Paul Elliott. Paul is going to sing us 3 songs. Paul is another of the stalwarts of the Ulster Scots community, a great singer and a great bandsman. He has been heavily involved with the Drumder Loyalist Kiwi Flute Band for many years. I said to him earlier, that's the drum bag, and he said, no, he lives in Drumbeg, but he's in the Drumder, so you have to keep your wits about you with townland names in this country. He's also well known for his singing talents, and he is going to introduce himself and tell us what 3 songs we're going to hear. Now hopefully, Paul, you're up there and just about ready for us, and you'll have seen that the Lambeg drum's been spirited away as well. He's going to make an appearance a little bit later. He's a one-man act. You'd have thought he'd come sort of leanly equipped. Maybe not. And I guess for all those of you listening on Facebook, you didn't need the internet to hear Killaloo or the shout at the end either. There he is. Paul, you there? Look at that, Paul Elliott.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you are all enjoying the concert so far. It is a real honour and a privilege to be here once again to share in this momentous event. And I'm just going to try and sing a few songs, considering that we haven't been doing much live singing lately over the pandemic, but we'll give it a go anyway. And when I was asked to do this by the Schomburg, obviously the event that it is, I started to think, goodness, what can you sing for the centenary? And I went through lots of different songs, and then I said, Paul, is it time you got your pencil and pen out and start to write something? So I've penned a couple of nice wee songs, some familiar tunes and music to these songs, but the first couple of songs are my own lyrics, so I trust you enjoy them. The first wee one, a very familiar song, you'll know the music of it, and some of the words you'll know as well, the lyrics of it, and this song is entitled 1921.
Somebody is beautiful. Are we country? It is fine. It was born in 1921, a century in time. Our fathers trod it as a youth in bygone days of yore. Our shelter from the stormy blast in troubled times of war. From Londonderry's iconic walls and Builder's Cottage in Lochall, our man for man and Antrim Town, County Tyrone and Star of Down. our country is fine. It was born in 1921, a century in time, a century in time, a century in time.
This next little song I'm going to perform is called Every Heart There's a Fire Burns, and it's a song that was performed by one of my favourite singers way back, Marty Pellow, and a great singer he is. And I have stolen some of his lyrics and added some of my own. And you know, there's a lovely line in this song, and it basically says, when lives are lost, then hearts are found. And you know, I just think that typifies the people of Northern Ireland right through 100 years. That when anybody's struggling, or if anybody has suffered loss, there's always the hearts that gather around and really encourage and help their neighbours. So this little piece is entitled Every Heart.
The sound of crying in the air, tributes for a trouble falling, they're everywhere. Every heart a fire burns and melts the pain away. You'll never take my Northern Ireland away from me, even though the tide is changing, it won't change for me. In every heart a fire burns and melts my pain away. When lives are lost and hearts are found, but where the home fires burn, they burn for me. I can see the lights of my town, how they shine for me. I can feel you in my heart, you're there for me. In my heart, a fire burns and melts my pain away. In my heart, a fire burns and melts my pain away. Yes, it melts my pain away. It melts my pain away.
This final little piece is titled The Anchor Holds. And it's a song that's very close to my own heart. And, you know, something that can't be stripped away right through 100 years is our faith. And our faith has played a very important part in the 100 years of Northern Ireland. And many deliverances we have seen, and many liberties we have also been presented by our forefathers. And I just believe that even throughout difficult times, even going forward, there is an anchor that holds. The anchor holds.
Through a long dark night, out on the open seas, by faith alone, and sight unknown. And yet his eyes watching me, the anchor holds, though the ship is battered, the anchor holds, though the sails are torn. As a face the raging seas, the anchor holds in spite of the storm. I've had visions, I've had dreams, I've even held them in my hand. But I never knew that they would sit right through, like they were only grains on sand. The anchor holds, though the ship is battered. The anchor holds, though the sails are torn. Anchor holds. though the ship is battered, the anchor holds, though the sails are torn.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Paul. A wonderful performance, a real talent. Paul Elliott, I was talking to Paul as he was getting ready. This is a man who prepares his vocal cords before singing, so he's not just bluffing his ticket, that boy can sing. So, I want to turn now to a very important part of this evening, the Robert Hill Hannah Victoria Cross statue. Most of you will know locally that Robert Hannah moved away from Hannah's Close, emigrated to Canada, as many of his friends and family did at that time, because there wasn't always work and jobs here in the Mourne area. Often the farm goes to the eldest boy, and therefore second and third sons had to find their living elsewhere. And many Ulster Scots went from here out to Canada, out to America, to Australia, to New Zealand, to far-flung parts of the Empire. And in 1917, serving as a company sergeant major in France, Hannah won a Victoria Cross, was awarded a Victoria Cross. It's a strange phrase to say won a Victoria Cross. He was awarded a Victoria Cross. And in 1917, it's a very famous battle, the Third Battle of Ypres, Passchendaele, how it's better known. Thousands upon thousands of men slaughtered in muddy fields of France. In 2017, we gathered at Hannah's Close, 100 years to the day when he carried out the actions for which he was awarded his Victoria Cross. And it was back to that lovely homeland one evening with the mountains of Mourne rolled down to the sea that we commemorated Hannah. And from that night came an initiative that we should mark a hero from our own community. And the Schomburg Society very courageously stepped up and put in motion, the wheels in motion, to raise a statue to the memory of Robert Hannah. And that initiative is well underway. We've got planning permission from the council. We've got a statue in mind. We've got 3D models and images of the statue. There'll be a little model of the statue available to see this evening. And it's a wonderful likeness of Hannah. And it's going to stand upon a Mourne granite stone to extol those virtues of the Mourne men, that granite. And on that night in 2017, when we remembered Robert Hannah, we read out the Roll of Honour from the Third Battle of Ypres, Passchendaele, and the men of Mourne who were killed in that battle. And they were serving with the Americans, they were serving with the Canadians, they were serving in Irish regiments and in English regiments, in New Zealand regiments and in Australian regiments. So far had they travelled, that diaspora. So it's not just Robert Hannah we remember all of those young men who went off. And ironically, most of them had their mother as next of kin, and the telegram would have come through the post office at Ballymartin, and out it would have went on bicycle up to Ballyvale or wherever to tell a mother that a son would not be returned. And so when we put that statue to Hannah in place, we're remembering all those men and women, the likes of Margaret Anderson, who went forward from here to the First World War. So it's not just about Robert Hannah, it's about all of them. However, it's Hannah we've chosen to mark. And this evening, we're going to have some music on a lambeg drum that marks Robert Hanna. And that music will be played by Stuart Campbell, and I'll introduce Stuart in a minute. The drum is owned by John Hanna, who is one of Hanna VC's relatives. On Saturday past, a brave, courageous bunch from the Schomburg and some friends of the Schomburg and some Orangemen and women from around the district carried the lambeg drum from the home place in Auchnaguri all the way to the top of Slieve Donard. Now the infantrymen started the lift early on, and they were joined by the cavalry at Dunnywater, and we carried her all the way to the top. And a great effort. To date, they've raised £6,000 just from the drum carry. Now we need to raise lots more, because a statue is not a cheap thing in the modern era. But the appeal is well underway, and we're going to raise some more money this evening. And indeed, we've got a raffle, which Danny's going to join me later on to pull out my raffle tickets for prizes. And so we're going to keep at that fundraising and get that statue up, because it's the right thing to do. So, turning to our music, Stuart Campbell's going to play the Hanna VC lambeg drum for us, and you know that lambeg drum is the symbol of Ulster Scots culture. Whenever we're a little down or feel that we're being overrun by others, we get that drum out, we beat it loud, and it's heard from all four corners. The First Minister was kind enough to allow a lot of boys up the other evening, and they played their lambeg drums, and they formed the words NI 100 in front of Stormont. So that lambeg drum is a fixture, and if you're lucky enough to be around Kilkeel on the 11th night, you'll hear the echo of that drum far and wide. So we're going to hear it this evening in a more convivial atmosphere as an instrument of piece of music. So Stuart, one of our most experienced and seasoned lambeg drummers, will join us tonight. Performs all over Northern Ireland, is a great lambeg drum competitor. So hopefully behind me is Stuart Campbell and the Hanna VC lambeg drum. Stuart Campbell, thank you very much. For anybody who happened to doze off at home there, I'm sure you're no longer sleeping, that's for sure. And it's just the right time to waken up. So I'm going to call on Danny, getting in to join me at the front. the Veterans Commissioner. Gareth Crucier, the chairman of Schomburg, is going to come in as well with the raffle tickets. Danny's going to make an appeal about the Robert Hill Hanna VC statue. Danny, nice to see you. Over to you.
Very good to see you. I keep waiting for that hand to come out from behind and haul you back in. No, very good. Anyway, First Minister and all of you today, thank you very much for coming here for this evening, and to all of those who are watching us here do it. The message you've had is us today. I'm delighted to be here. It's an honour to be here. And you've seen just the talent of what we've got in Ulster at the moment, but you also know what we have in the past. And as you came in through the front door, or you look at what's behind you, you can see many of those fantastic people who have made Ulster what it is. But it's also our centenary, and it's lovely to be here on that and involved with marking our centenary, and those same people have driven this country and made it the success that it is. But I'm the Veterans Commissioner, and I can't come and stand in front of you and move on to Robert Hanna without at least saying to you that we need to make sure we look after all our veterans. I'm meant to be their voice. I'm meant to be there to make sure that they get the help they need when they need it. And there's a lot of work to do. We've got fantastic veterans. We've got about 150,000 here in the north. We've got about 10,000 across the border. And that goes right the way back, whether you're talking of Korea, Malaya, Falklands, and of course our troubles. And I got told off the other day at the Armed Forces, at the Veterans All Party Group in Westminster, when I said many of our veterans here, particularly from Albana, particularly from the UDR, are in the twilight of their years. And one of the senior MPs there for the military went, I'm not in that twilight of my life. So apologies to those. But you saved Northern Ireland from terrorism. You not only fought and did your military service, but you carried on living it as you carried on with your normal jobs and through your lives and afterwards. And so my job is incredibly important. It is to make sure that everyone is respected, looked after, and at the same time I need to talk to you all and find out what your views are on everything. So please engage with us and help us, because I have no database. We've got the regimental organisations and others, but it's incredibly important that I get round and keep going round and help everybody. But today is about raising the funds for the statue of Robert Hanna. And I know most of you probably know more than I did when I started reading up on him, and you already from Kingsley had a great deal. You know you're going to get a fantastic statue here, but it's going to cost 40,000. It's going to be in stone, it's going to be on Mourne granite, it's going to be a centre point to the town. I hope, like the others that have been built and put in Northern Ireland, that it'll bring more and more people to Kilkeel. It'll become one of those pieces of history that you want to see, that everyone coming to Northern Ireland wants to see. But we're not going to get there without, I'm afraid, all of you putting your hands in your pockets and helping. And all of you out there who are looking on the camera, the plea goes out to you just as much. I long to see that statue here, see Robert Hanna marked for that bravery. We know, if those of you who have read a bit of history of that battle, that the Strong Point had been attacked 3 times and they'd failed to take it. They'd lost all their officers. And Robert Hanna, the company sergeant major, put together another attack, and they took the Strong Point, and he killed 4 Germans as he was taking it. And you know that there's an example that all of us can always look at that statue and see. That's one of us from Ulster, one of us from down here. And I can't claim anything from being from Mourne, but I know it's a fantastic part of the world. And I'm really pleased to be here. But please get the message out there. We want to raise funds. We want to get to that 40,000. And lovely to hear that we've got 6,000 already there. But what a fantastic deed he did. And I'm sure there were many others who won't be recognised for what they did. But you're going to mark Robert Hill Hanna. And he's going to be that son of Kilkeel that you'll remember. So please dig deep. And thank you very much for having me today. And also a huge thank you, Kingsley, to you, to Schomburg, and to the fantastic arts that we've had beforehand. I can't sing, I can't dance. It's probably about a politician or what's about 3 of. Anyway, back to you, Kingsley. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to look for a bit of Kinahan luck in the plastic bag. So, just again to thank Danny for his service. Danny was a lifeguard? Blue Royal, pardon. They're the really posh cavalry regiment. I never get that right. I have the People's Cavalry, the tank regiment. And North Irish was where we served together. Danny's working with the Schomburg on a number of projects for veterans in the local area. As you all know, veterans are twice a citizen. They serve their community in many different ways. When we were walking up Slieve Donard on Saturday and Ivan Martin was marshalling us up that mountain, you can see he's every inch still the colour sergeant, every inch the professional soldier. So it's veterans like Ivan and Glenhanna and others who've served their country not once, not twice, but now 3 times. So then we think of tonight. So Danny, how are we doing with the blue tickets number 678 to 670?
We're not doing well on that at all, so we'll push this one back. White. So the first one out is white 416 to 420. 416 to 420. Yay, white. So that looks slightly green to me. So white 416 to 420. Yay, well done.
That is the Ulster Scots hamper. What's in it, Sharon? The hamper? There's some fine Ulster Scots and Scots fare in there, including some Pecan Christmas and Iron Brew. Other drinks and crisps are available somewhere.
So this time it's green, and it's 516 to 520. Green, 516 to 520. So pink, 281 to 285. Pink, 281 to 285. Thank you very much. One more. So green. 481 to 485. Green 481 to 485. Have a yes behind.
James Norris, have a word there. It's the sort of thing you expect from the MID, not the PUB.
Pink, 231 to 235. Pink, 231 to 235. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for saying as well, Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you everyone who bought raffle tickets. It appears I'm the only one who bought blue raffle tickets. You bought them too, no excuse. Now, behind me on the stage we have the Pride of Ballinran Flute Band. Now, I'm aware that there are other bands in Keele and other bands further afield, so I'll be careful what I say as a Ballinran man myself. So a local band, based here in Kilkeel, formed in 1980, formed by the men from Ballinran and a few blow-ins from the town, and has come on over the years to be one of the finest bands of any discipline, never mind flute bands, in the whole of the United Kingdom. They regularly play at national level events. They've been in the Belfast Tattoo, the Liverpool Tattoo, and of course at the Shawgrove's 11th night pageant they're always one of the star acts. When I was growing up, I used to watch the Royal Military Tattoo every year at Earl's Court. I used to marvel at the Royal Marines drummers who could do all the fancy stuff with the drumsticks. Today, the Royal Marines drummers sit and marvel on YouTube at the Private Ballinram's corps of drums and what they do with the drumsticks. Their style and appearance is immaculate. They would make any army band or military band proud. And it's great that we have them here. They're going to treat us to a selection of music. So, further ado, the Pride of Ballinram.
Another wee tune I'm going to play now in connection with the Duke of Edinburgh, who recently passed away, and he was the Captain General of the Royal Marines for many, many years. So we're going to play the march Captain General. started back in 1980. One of the wee tunes at first played was a wee tune called The Outlaw Cabin. So we're going to get that along, but we're a wee bit up market, and we're up market now. We call it the Porty Cabin now. arrangement of. It's a long note. It's also our percussionist's birthday today as well. That would be Tommy Norris, who's 17. So, just a another big red face. Tommy's been in the band since he put it up. So we want to play Congratulations. It was written by a guy from Northern Ireland as well. What do you call him, from London, Derry? Phil Coulter. Yeah, so he's nothing to Harry Coulter or anything. He wrote a good song. Please join in. Soldiers, and they were very fierce in warfare. So this march was composed in their honour, and it's called Fredericks. And Major Fredericks was the leader of the pack, as it were, and this was his Black Devils. version, and this one's called Goodbye Dolly Gray.
Well, can I thank on your behalf the Pride of Ballarat Flute Band and the Literary Wives Choir. A master class in flute music. It amazes me and it amuses me in equal measure that there are some out there who have a problem with that as culture. The time and effort to get to a level of excellence like that, and the pleasure that that music provides, is just unparalleled. I have served with and worked with many directors of music across the military, and they would give both their conducting honours to have a gang like that under the baton. And yet here, in Mourne, in almost every townland, we can produce bands who are culturally significant, who play excellent music, and who have diversified, not just the plain old-fashioned music, but the likes of things you heard from John Shields earlier when they played The Minstrel Boy. It's rare across the United Kingdom to find such concentrations of talent in such depth. And it's a hats off to our own community here in Mourne and further afield that we keep producing such excellent musicians. Not just musicians, our drum majors too, and there's a new class of drum majors on their way, and those who carry bannerets and flags, and those who help marshal parades, and those who are in the Loyal Orders too. For a small community to produce such a cultural effort is truly significant. And you'd like to think that over the coming years, perhaps others might dig a little deeper when it comes to appreciating and accommodating that kind of culture. For I don't think you can listen to music like that and not enjoy it, even if you're not necessarily from that cultural background. So, the Pride of Ballinral, one of many wonderful musical bands from around Mourne and further afield. Now, we're moving towards the end of the programme, and we're going to see the Kirknara dancers come back in. I'm beginning to think that I'm standing in the way for a minute. Am I standing in the way, Richard? So I'm going to get out of the way and introduce again the Kirknara dancers. We're going to dance to a tune called the Dam Busters. Now, often we associate military bravery with the likes of Robert Hill and fighting men in trenches. The heroism shown by the Dam Busters, who flew out in their old Lancaster bombers to the heart of Germany to take on the big targets of the dams that fuel the energy in the gun factories in the Ruhr Valley, was unparalleled. Crews of 8 at a time being shot out of the sky, going to certain death. And so this tune, Dam Busters, remembers 617 Squadron, led by Guy Gibson, another Victoria Cross winner who later died in the war on a lone flight in his Mosquito. Truly brave men from across the Commonwealth, the likes of whom you would have found out at the Aerodrome at Cranfield, or up at Langford Lodge, or indeed up in Ballykelly, and plenty of places who went out there knowing that the odds of returning were slim. That is true courage. So, in salute to them, we're going to have the Kirknara dancers with the Dam Busters. fantastic girls. Well done. I know you struggle a wee bit because the flags aren't easy to get a hold of, so brilliant. Well done. You're a tribute to everything that Catherine has done. Your mums and dads who bring you to and from practice all the time, and you're keeping going, and you get better and better and better, year by year by year. Some of you I've grown since you were that height in the lower square on the 12th morning when we have our wee pageant, and here you are all tall and grown up. So brilliant. Well done. Put your hands together one minute. Very good. We're now still at dance. And there's more dance classes running, so out there encourage children, grandchildren in the lot to get involved. We need more boys. If we're going to get proper Scots country dancing going on, we need more boys to step up and play. Even I'll have a crack, so anybody's game out of the dance. At Burns Night 2022, I'd take all comers for money for the VC statue, so anybody thinks they're game. Now, we're going to have our Literary Wives Choir back again. They're going to sing Danny Boy. Danny Boy is its colloquial name, the name that it's known by amongst folk. It's the London Derriere, and the London Derriere was laid down. It's a tune that was, and the song that had been in circulation with a lady called Jane Ross from Limavady, from an Ulster Scots family, is attributed with bringing the song to note. Her father was, for Danny and me, something of interest, her father was the captain of the yeomanry in Limavady in the late 18th century. So they were interesting times. If you were in the yeomanry, you were caught up in the United Irishman Rebellion around that time. But it's a lovely tune, you all know it. It's Northern Ireland's tune at the Commonwealth Games. So it has real resonance for us. And it's one of those very lifting airs. Oh Danny Boy, the pipes are coming. Now we've heard the pipes this evening, we hear the skirl of the pipes around the Mourne area often, so I think it has that real resonance for us. It's the pipes that were played when we remember Robert Hilhana Auchnahury. The Auchnahury heroes played for us that night too, so there's great connections. It was pipers who led the boys across the top of the trenches. So that call of the pipes is going to be celebrated now by the Military Wives Choir. First Minister, would you join us? Can I just thank again the Military Wives Choir, and Judith, if you're out there, many congratulations on a new name and 2 children since I last saw you at St. Anne's Cathedral. That's what happens when you don't see me often. You get in all sorts of trouble, not the case for you. We have the First Minister here with us this evening, very significant. We started the evening with Edward Carson, like one of the founding fathers of Northern Ireland, and we're going to bring our evening to an end with our current First Minister, Paul Givan, who's going to say a few words.
Thank you, Kingsley. I'm not sure I can follow Edward Carson, but I'll say a few words. But can I thank you for the invitation to be here and to the Schomburg Society for putting on this event. Whenever the invite came in, and given the day that it is, to mark Ulster Day, I was very keen to be here, and it's been a pleasure to be able to meet in person, and to have the singing and to have the fellowship together, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of that after this. I know Sir Geoffrey does send his apologies. I was speaking with him on Monday, and I was telling him I was coming to Kilkeel. He had hoped to be here, but I know he is attending another event to mark Ulster Day in Newtownards this evening, so he did ask me to convey his apologies for not being able to be here this evening. I always enjoy coming to Kilkeel. It was in Kilkeel when I was only 16 years of age that I decided to get involved in politics. That was in 1998, and Dr. Paisley was speaking at a rally in Kilkeel Orange Hall, and I have good friends who are from Kilkeel as well, so I am sorry for being a little bit late, but most of my Kilkeel friends are always late to everything that I try and do. I'm not sure if that's a distinct feature of Kilkeel people, but apologies for being late. I know we are marking 100 years of Northern Ireland's centenary. Many people thought that Northern Ireland wouldn't survive whenever it first came into being, but we're still here, and it's right that we should be proud of the achievements of Northern Ireland, and we reflect on where we were 100 years ago, and we think about the past. We think about the key parts of our industry. We think of agriculture, linen, shipbuilding, and some of those industries are no longer with us, but the same commitment and dedication, ingenuity, creativity is still with us. And so today, the financial services, the advanced manufacturing, I think of the way in which we have developed as an economy. And when I speak to people in Citibank and Allstate and some of these big employers like Randox, and we had an occasion over in London a couple of weeks ago where we brought those businesses, and I asked them, what is it about Northern Ireland that's so attractive? And they said it's their people, because of their commitment and their dedication, and nothing's ever a problem for them whenever they're under pressure. So the past, we reflect on it, and it was a trying time 100 years ago. My own family were County Monaghan people. They moved, as thousands of Southern Unionists moved to Northern Ireland to make Northern Ireland its home. And we think about the sacrifice that was made whenever the First World War, the Second World War, and then during the Troubles. And so Northern Ireland has endured hardships. People here will be able to testify to that personally better than I am able to do. But we have prevailed. And today, I'm confident that Northern Ireland can look forward to a future. So we have a past to remember. We have a present where we're continuing to prevail. But I also believe in providence. And I believe, as our forefathers did, in God we trust. And that rally cry was for God and Ulster. And I know Paul Elliott spoke about that when he sang his piece about having an anchor. And our forefathers very much put their trust in God. And so all around us, yes, we can be under pressure. I think politically we're under pressure, not for the first time as a unionist people. But again, I believe we can prevail. And I think we need to put our trust in God for that and have our faith in Him. That's why I love Northern Ireland. That's civil and religious liberty. I believe that this place very much was a place for our faith to prosper, and I hope that it is for the future. So while things change, I would just say that there's a God who was the same yesterday, today, and will be tomorrow. And while we live in uncertain times, we can be certain of Him, and I think we can look forward with confidence to the future for God and Ulster. So thank you, Kingsman. Thank you.
thank you for the foundations of our state. This little country which is a jewel in the crown of the United Kingdom. Those who built it upon faith and hope and justice and liberty. Those gifted with great courage, endeavour, and for all the ways in which they used those gifts to make our land prosper. But it was all because of your gracious hand. For all that we have and all that we are is due to you. We remember with thankfulness those who served our country and our Queen. And at times of celebration, we also have times of commemoration and remembrance of those who laid down their lives for our country, that we may continue to enjoy the liberties that we have today. Bless families throughout our country who today are thankful for the memories of loved ones who laid down their lives, but who continue to miss them very much in the future. As we look now to the future, we pray to help those in authority in our land to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. We pray that as we prepare to hand the torch on to the generations that are yet to be, that we'll pass on a goodly, godly heritage to them as well. That our country will continue to prosper at your hand, till the day comes when the King of all the nations, the King of all the world, Jesus, returns. Pray that, Father, as we look to that day, we may put our trust in you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, William. Can I also thank you for the way that you most movingly and sensitively marked and remembered the late Reverend Dr. McGahey on his passing recently. I thought that was truly moving, how you captured his spirit and his feeling. Folks, we're just approaching the latter stages, and really behoves me to say a few thank yous. So, first of all, to the Board of Governors of Kilkee Primary School for allowing us to use this facility this evening. We're most grateful. The primary school has become a real hotbed of Ulster Scots culture. They've got that wonderful wall of remembrance out there of young men and women from the school who went forward and served their country. And I think they do a lot to harness the values and the qualities that the people who are now stand for, and they're to be thanked and respected for that. And also to all the acts and performers who took part tonight, I think you'll agree 100 years in is a rich, rich vein of talent at every age level, from every townland and much further beyond over, and we should be truly grateful for that too. To our special guests, First Minister Paul Givan, our Veterans Commissioner Dan McKinnon, and Tim Wells, our local MLA, the Reverend Bingham, and all of you, thank you. All of you at home, there are over 4,000 of you who are listening in this evening on Facebook, which is tremendous for a community like this. And there's nobody obviously clearly working on the roads or doing the hospital, they're all listening in this evening. This is great. As ever to our volunteers from the Schomburg Society, they really do step up to the plate. They were on the top of Sleep Donner on Saturday, and here they are this evening putting in another monumental effort so that all of us can enjoy that culture that we've celebrated this evening, these 100 years that have brought us to this place this evening. And to everyone who's come along this evening and those at home who have supported us, we are ever so grateful for your support. It's critical. Sending your kids along to drum majors classes and dance classes, coming in and doing a stint. To Inclusion Ulster Scots Society, Ulster Scots Agency, thank you again for making this evening possible. They remain a sturdy funder of all the activities we undertake. Now, as you leave, there are some burly men and women at the doors. Don't be going out the back door, for they're manned as well. And they have buckets, and in those buckets you can drop in a little bit of dodge, which will help make its way towards the statue fund. Now, if you're worried about how much, I would say about £1 a blister, and I'm on 10 blisters, not all on my feet. So please dig deep into the buckets on the way out. Help us get that statue up there and to memorialise a local hero. There are many more others who we can lay statues to over the next century. I know that some of our local councillors and others have plenty of ideas about who we can put on the plinth around here. Some live it. So, thank you very much. We hope to see you all soon. We've got the statue to raise, we've got Fringe FM coming up again at Christmas, and plenty of other things in between. So thanks once more. Let's put your hands together one more time for all our actions. And in closing, in the old traditional style, only 100 years young, if I ask you to get to your feet and James, please do that. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, those of you listening in, thank you very much once again, and we hope to see you all soon. Stay home.